Men's Forum wants you to master men's blueprint for life. Learn how to build wealth, build quality relationships with the right people, lead a better and healthier family life, live your full potential, inspire the world. Men were born to lead, keep, and protect the family. Join Men's Forum and master your blueprint for life. Men's Forum, all you need to become a better man.
Have you ever asked yourself why more people are more successful than some others? Well, today's platform, we are going to help you to unlock some of those secrets to success. In addition, I want to say this. When you have a low sense of self, a low sense of purpose, and a low sense of direction, those things open the door for trauma to overcome you. And when trauma overcomes you, you become confused, you become stunted in your life, socially, financially, and in every other way possible. Now, this platform is designed to present to you information that will literally transform your life, helping you to learn and apply and master what it takes to have a great sense of self, what it takes to have a great sense of purpose, and what it takes to have a great sense of direction in your life. And today I have an exceptionally talented personality in studio, and his name is Chris. And Chris is an author of this book titled Becoming a Better Man. He's also the brain behind Family Forum and the brain behind Men Forum. And today we're going to be having a very intricate conversation about trauma and what trauma does. Chris, just before I bring you into the conversation, there's a couple of things that I want to say, because trauma devastates people's life, but they are secrets, they are best practices, they are smart ways to overcome trauma. And speaking truth to that statement, I want us to just reflect on the Israelites. The Israelites was thrown into a traumatic experience for many decades. For 410 years, they were thrown into a very traumatic experience. They were under the cruel rulership of Pharaoh for 210 years. After Moses led them out of Egypt, leading them to the land of Canaan, they spent another 40 years in the wilderness. So what I'm saying here is that these individuals went through traumatic experiences. But is it possible to rise from trauma and position yourself for greatness in the world, even after going through that degree of hardship? The African community would have gone through tremendous trauma for over 400 years. But the big question, is it possible to rise above traumatic experience, and position yourself for greatness? The answer is yes. Chris is an expert and he will walk you through some of those processes. But I want to also say this, and I want to also lay factual data in front of you. The Jewish community, the Israelites, after all of that hardship, God blessed them. And in Deuteronomy 8:18, the quote is, God gives power to get wealth. Mm-hmm. So after all of that hardship, God gave them the power to get wealth. Today, they are the wealthiest people in the world. The secret lies in really taking the time to understand what were the stepping stones that they took to position themselves to come into greatness. What stepping stone did they took to position themselves for financial independence? What were those practical steps that they take? Those secrets, Chris will help you to unlock some of them. I will also help you to unlock some of them. So moving forward, you don't allow trauma to hold you back. You have to stop trauma from stopping you. Mm-hmm. Chris, with that being said, I want to welcome you. You are a fountain of talent and information, and I know that you are well positioned to empower people's life. Let me give you a better introduction. Chris spent many years in the construction industry. He's still in the construction industry, so you understand real estate. But Chris is a humanitarian, is a people person, and he has now developed Family Forum, Men's Forum, and he's the brain behind Becoming a Better Man. Why? Because Chris says to me that he really wants to give back to society, give back to people, so people can now live their best quality of life on earth. So just like how the Jews, the Israelites, were able to position themselves to achieve greatness financially and in every other way. Chris want to show them that stepping stone to come into greatness. And today I can see that we have over 182 persons who are looking at the program. And I want to thank you for being here. Today is going to be a fun day. Chris, can we talk about what does having a low sense of self, a low sense of purpose, and a low sense of direction, how devastating that can be to someone's life? Can we start by looking at the importance of having a strong sense of self?
Yes. Yes. To me, the sense of self is the number one precursor to success or anything else, right? It's a matter of a lot of people think that they are who other people think they are. And there are millions of people that live their life that way. But the reality is you are who you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a low sense of self, if you have low self-worth, unworthiness, imposter syndrome, there are so many clinical terms for it out there now, but what it really means is you are who you believe inside that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And until you get that part right, there's nothing else that's going to fall into place in your life because you're already upside down. I lived there myself for many years, right? It was a matter of, I thought that if I could make other people happy or if I could make them like me, then I would be worth something than I would like myself. But that's not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a high self-worth, if you believe in yourself, if you know that you are capable of doing whatever it is you want to do, then that is what sets you up to take the other action steps to becoming who you want to be.
Thanks for that share, Brett. Chris, I want to thank the audience. Today I can see that we have over 667 persons that are here today. And thank you. Do share the room out, and happy to have you here. But Chris, I want to come alongside you and add to what you have said. Having a strong sense of self is so important, but it begins with you knowing your self-worth. And this is something that we see many persons struggle with in life. One, we see people flow in their lack. They flow in their limitation, they flow in their doubts, and they flow in their fear. And all of this is a reflection of the negative trauma that they would have gone through. And I know part of what you're doing here, Chris, you want people to overcome that mindset of lack, because that mindset of lack is a limited mindset. That mindset of limitation, that mindset of doubt, that mindset of fear, it's trauma holding you back. But most people do not know the practical steps that they can take to overcome those trauma. So I want to say to the public, Chris and I, we have been working together for quite some time, and we have developed a number of programs. For example, you have the Men's Forum. And what the Men's Forum will do, it will help you as a male to understand the importance of learning what is the importance of having a strong sense of self. All right. You need to have a strong sense of self. You need to have that strong sense of purpose, and you need to have a strong sense of direction. So Chris and I, we have a blueprint that we are going to be given to you. You're going to be mentored. You're going to be coach, you're going to be sponsored, you're going to be part of a supportive community that is going to position you to come into your greatness. Chris, what we see is that many persons in the world, they are not trained to flow in their abundance. And I want to say to people, regardless of where you came from, regardless of where you are right now in your life, I want to say to you that you have the ability to position yourself for greatness. But Chris and I would say, you first of all have to position yourself to take ownership of your life. You have to position yourself to ask the Creator to come into your life and give you direction and pour blessings onto your life like He would have done with so many other persons. We would talk about the story of Abraham. You know, Abraham, who is known today as the father of nations. At one time, he was poor, but God said to him, I will bless you so you can be a blessing. And later in life, God did bless him. He became the owner of livestock. He started to build wealth in silver. He started to build wealth in gold. And he was able to do great things in the world. Now, that is testimony that you can move from trauma into that state where you have abundance, but you must understand the blueprint. So the Jewish community is not the only community that were able to literally shattered all of that negative experience of trauma and position themselves for greatness. We had a few other groups that did it. And what Chris and I would do when you come into the men's forum, when you come into the family forum, we're going to give you those step-by-steps and those secrets to really position yourself for greatness. Chris, can we talk a bit about, purpose? Because when I hear, God did say to Abraham, I will bless you so you can be a blessing. And all people on earth will be blessed through you. That to me is talking about purpose. All right. It's talking about purpose. Again, I want to just pause a bit to thank. We have over 1,500 persons here today. And I want to thank you for coming and spend that time with us. And do feel free to go to the description of this video, and you can subscribe to our channel. You can also register for the men's forum, register for the family forum, because on this platform, we're going to give you a blueprint to prosper as men and to prosper as a family. And once you're in the US, 50 states, we're going to give you access to capital. So when you have a vision to start and scale a business, we're going to set you up for success. But again, I want to thank Chris. Chris is a mastermind here. He's a brain behind this program. And Chris is truly committed to helping people come into their greatness. So Chris, can we talk about purpose in terms of what I've just highlighted?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Now, purpose is, it's something that doesn't reveal itself to a lot of us for a long time, because we are literally groomed when we are younger to not seek it. And what I mean by that is we are told by our parents, and they don't even realize that they're doing it, to be safe and to not dream and to not stick your neck out and to not take risks, right? And your purpose will never reveal itself to you as long as you're living with that mindset. We've talked, you and I, before on other episodes about, the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, right? Well, in order for you to be able to find your true purpose in life, you have to have a growth mindset, right? You have to believe in yourself enough to where you believe that you can find your purpose and fulfill that purpose. And until that, so that's job number one, right? Sense of self. And then once that purpose reveals itself to you, you have to figure out some action steps, some planning, some organization, all those things on how to make that purpose true, how to make it fruitful. Right. And the only way to do that is to take some risks, to stick your neck out there, to, go somewhere that is uncomfortable. We all talk about the only way to be successful is to get out of your comfort zone and be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
Right. Okay. And in order to do that, that takes some risk, and that takes some, some fear. It takes all those things. Right. And that's what creates the trauma that you're talking about. Is those fears of taking those risks, those fears of being inadequate, being unworthy. All those things are what create those traumas that block you or get you stuck from fulfilling your true purpose. And the only way to get past those is to find some help and get to the root causes of those issues, those fears, and then learn to let them go. Because as we talked about many times, as long as you're stuck, you can't move forward.
Exactly. Chris, you're so correct. There's a couple of things that I noticed, Chris, is that when people struggle in their sense of self, they struggle in their sense of purpose. And when they struggle in their sense of purpose, they struggle in their sense of direction. And then they begin to feel as though they have no control over their lives. And I believe that is the worst way to live your life. It's like you're the pilot on your plane, and then you wake up one day and you recognize that, hey, you're flying, but then you don't know how to navigate the sky.
Yeah.
So if that plane happened to run out of gas, guess what? You crash. And this is what happened with so many people in their lives. And I want to emphasize this. This is exactly why this program that Chris has created, that we have created, it begins with foundational program where we talk so much about the importance of having a strong sense of self. What are practical steps that you can take to learn, apply, and master your strong sense of self? Because you are not lack, you are not limitation, you are not doubts, and you are not fear, you are abundance. But your sense of self has to know that. Your sense of self has to claim that. Your sense of self has to live that. Now, in finding purpose, it's important to recognize that your purpose is to serve. And if we go right back to Genesis 12:2-3, it says, I will bless you, God says to Abraham, and you will be a blessing. So when God pour blessing into your life, he's not pouring blessing into your life for you to be stingy. He's pouring blessings into your life so you can be a blessing onto others. And to be a blessing onto others, it means that you have to serve people. But before you serve people, you have to understand yourself. You have to have something of substance. All right. And that something of substance is what myself and Chris will talk more about when you come into the men's forum. Because there are many people that want to serve, but you just don't know how to serve. There are many people that want to serve, but you just don't have anything to serve because you haven't filled yourself up with that sense of self-worth. You haven't filled yourself up with that substance that you need to serve at the highest level in your field. So you cannot fulfill purpose. And because of all of this, you don't have that strong sense of direction. So you don't know how to, you don't have a definiteness of self. You don't have a definiteness of purpose. You don't have a definiteness of direction. So you feel as though you're going in circles. And that's what happened with many men across the world. I want to assure you, the Israelites who rise up to greatness, they have a strong sense of self. They have a strong sense of purpose. They have a strong sense of direction. Why not you? All right. Abraham, he had a strong sense of self, a strong sense of direction, a strong sense of purpose. Why not you? You will continue to struggle with the things that you're struggling with in life until you get a copy of this book, Becoming a Better Man. Until you become a part of the men's forum and the family forum that Chris has designed, we have designed. And guess what? It's absolutely free at this moment. All right. Why we are doing this? Because this is part of our role to give back to you so we can bring you to your full potential, or at least bring you to that point where you recognize that you are more than you are today. All right. Chris, can we look now at perhaps what are some of the practical steps that people can take, to overcome trauma? What are some of the solutions? What do you see as those solutions? How to, master oneself? Can you give us some pointers on that?
Yes, for sure. The first one is to be vulnerable enough to ask for help, right? I learned that the hard way. I literally struggled for years on my own, thinking that I lived on an island and there was no one out there to help me and no one understood all the struggles that I was going through. And it took that vulnerability to be able to understand that I had some issues that I couldn't work out on my own, and then reach out and ask for help. Once you do that, then you can start going back and finding out what the core issues are, right? Most of us blame our struggles on things that aren't actually the problem, and that is a big issue with learning to let go, learning how to grow. All of those things are based on going back and finding out what the root causes are. I literally, you guys know I'm an open book. Chapter 1 is all about my story. And I struggled, with drugs and alcohol for 20 years because I didn't know what the real problem was. And that was my solution, right? Was to numb myself from the emotions that I didn't have positive coping mechanisms for. So what I had to do when I let all that go, and I needed to figure out exactly what was wrong with me, because you go through this period where you're like, I don't even know what's wrong with me. Why am I different than other people? Why can't I have successful relationships? Why can't I have my finances in order? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? There is stuff that has happened when you were a child that is blocking you, then you have no clue that it's blocking you. So first is vulnerability. Second is going back and finding the root causes. And then once you do that, then you can start to figure out what I call daily action steps. It's the most important thing for anyone to grow. We all want to set these goals. You know, we want to set these 5-year projections. We want to set all these things, right? We want to save money for when our kids graduate. It's daily action steps that make you successful. It's a daily routine that you can do over and over and over again until you are so disciplined at that routine that it has no chance to fail. People that are successful do two things. Okay. You know that I've met a lot of successful people in my time of doing this. All of them have two things in common. That's discipline and consistency. And I don't care. I don't care if it's working out. I don't care if it's your financial future. I don't care if it's a relationship, whatever it is. Those two things are key to making it successful: discipline and consistency.
Good. All right. Thanks for that share, Chris. I want to say to the audience, I see that we have over 1,500 persons who are listening to today's program. Thank you for being here today, taking time out from your schedule to be with us today. Chris, what I want to do, I want to add to some of the things that you would have said. In life, you want to bring yourself to that point where you could master who you are. I want to emphasize this because I want this to sink into people's hearts. You're not lack, you're not limitation, you're not doubts, and you're not fear, but you're abundance. But you must be taught the way, you must be shown the way, and you must be committed to embrace the way that's going to position you for greatness. And I want to add to some of the things that you've said: daily investment in self, daily habits. And I want to share with you some of the things that you can do on a daily basis to start to retool and, reshape the way you think so you can position yourself for greatness, just like the Israelites would have done, just like Abraham would have done, just like so many great ones would have done way back then. You can do the same. One of the things that you can do when you want to master yourself, your intellectual self, you can read the right books. All right, read the right books. And I want to introduce to you this book that is on screen right now, Becoming a Better Man. Now, this very channel that you're viewing this program on, Men's Forum, I want you to peruse this channel, and you would see that we have 2 books there. Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Chapter 1 is on Chris. You would learn everything that you need to know about Chris and the challenges and the struggle that he went through, the trauma that he went through, and how we overcome them. So some of his blueprint is there. But from there, there's Chapter 2 that introduces you to different types of trauma that is holding you back. And it's giving you some of the techniques as to how to break free from those traumatic experiences so you can now position yourself for the greatness that Chris wants you to accomplish in your life. So go to this channel right now and find those books, listen to those books, give us your feedback. So I want you to read the right books. All right. When you come into our community, we're going to introduce you to many more good books. Coming soon, you're going to have, books on family forum. Many persons start a family, but you don't have a blueprint. So if you have a blueprint, you don't have a sense of direction with your family. And if you don't have a sense of direction, you open the door to chaos. Chris and I will talk to you about that. The other thing that you can do to position yourself to become the better person, you can attend the right lectures like you are right here, right now. We have over 1,500 persons who are viewing the program. All right. You can attend programs like this so you can begin to get your appetite whet on how to overcome trauma. You can get your appetite whet on what persons who have overcome trauma, what are the things that they are doing to position themselves for greatness. And I just want to quickly recap. I talk about the Israelites. They spent over 200 years under the leadership of Pharaoh. They spent over 40 years in the land of wilderness. Did that stop them? No. Today they are among the wealthiest people in the world. Why not you? The secrets to embracing your greatness, socially, financially, and economically, myself and Chris, we will give you that blueprint when you come into the Men's Forum, when you come into the Family Forum. So to join this community, I want to encourage you to go to the description. You will see those links. Just press those links, join up, so we can have we have sessions outside of this platform where we go deeper into analyzing trauma, all right, different types of trauma and how it is holding you back as a man. You see, as a male figure who has been ordained with the responsibility to be the head of the home, you want to know that you can rise to the occasion where you have disposable income to do things for yourself, where you have disposable income to do things for your spouse, where you have disposable income to do things for your generation, and where you can lay the foundation for generational wealth to be part of your legacy. And these are all strategies that Chris and I will be going into to really help you to unlock some of the secrets to life. Chris, anything you want to add here? Go right ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key to all of it, right? Is any parent doesn't want their kid to struggle the way they did, right? Like that's if you love someone, you don't want to see them struggle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I realized and what you have agreed to, partner up with me on is that a lot of us don't know how to teach them not to struggle.
Yeah.
Because we haven't figured it out ourselves, and they don't teach it in school. There's no curriculum for how to have positive coping mechanisms. There's no curriculum for how to overcome generational trauma. There's no curriculum for, how to stop being a people pleaser or deal with imposter syndrome or fears of unworthiness, and so that's why you and I are creating that curriculum, right? In order to be a good parent and to be there for your children and teach them how to be better people, you have to do one thing. You have to become a better person yourself first.
Yeah.
Right.
The challenge, go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And so that's the key, right? Is better people make better leaders. They make better employees. They make better business owners. They make better fathers. They make better husbands. They make better teachers, principals. The list goes on and on, right? The key is to give them a blueprint to where they can become better themselves and they can learn how to achieve personal development, financial freedom, all those kinds of things start with one word. And I love that word because it is essentially that. It's love. You have to learn how to love yourself first before you can love anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many of us out there. I was included for 42 years. I had no idea what real love was. And I had no idea how to love myself.
Great. Chris, what you said there just now is so true. There are many young people today. There are many people in the world today that would say that I didn't have my mom or my dad to mentor and coach me. I didn't grow up in the right environment. So that's the reason why you are the way you are today. I want to say to you right here and right now, stop telling yourself those lies. All right. Because the solution is right in front of you. Many of you might not have grown with the right mom or the right father figure in your life. I want to say this to you. Get the right mentor. All right. Get the right coach. Get the right sponsor. Become a part of a supportive community. The beauty about what I'm saying here is that Chris and I, we have already built out a community where you're going to get mentor. And you're going to get a mentor that is going to teach you and talk to you and hand hold you and really help you to understand how to be a better leader. A leader that can think ahead, a leader that can see beyond problems, a leader that can take informed action to achieve desired results, a leader that can lead yourself. As Chris said, you have to learn how to lead yourself before you can be successful in leading others. Chris will teach you all about that. You will learn how to position yourself to be a better family man. All right. Inspire your spouse, inspire your kids. You will also be taught and mentor how to position yourself to build wealth. Some of the things that myself and Chris talk about, many persons around the world, you've been taught, yes, go to school, get a good, get education and get a good job. But what happens after you get a good job? What myself and Chris will do is re-angle that. So you know why you're working. You work to earn, you earn to save, you save to invest, and you invest to build wealth. Is this your blueprint? Many persons, you work and you earn, but then you go paycheck to paycheck. Is this the quality of life that you deserve? I know, and I know that you deserve more. But if you don't have the blueprint that is going to position you for greatness, you're going to feel as though you're going around in circles, no sense of direction. So what Chris and I have really committed to is to emphasizing this language to you. You don't have to be stuck where you are right now if it is a place that you are not comfortable with. What is holding you back from getting a mentor? What is holding you back from getting a coach? What is holding you back from getting a sponsor in your life? What is holding you back from becoming a part of a supportive community? And that's the supportive community wants you to be successful. What is holding you back? Perhaps the only thing that is holding you back is you. All right? Because the opportunity is right here, right now, for you to come be part of this community and position yourself for greatness. So I'm giving you some step-by-steps of things that you can do to position yourself for greatness. And the last thing that I want to say here on this particular point is that you have to take ownership of your life and your destiny and invite the creator into your life. Because I want to emphasize this. We are not the owners of anything in this world. We're the managers of them. And when you have that focus of mind and you recognize that there's something much greater than us, and when we depend on that is greater than us, and we ask that is greater than us to take ownership of our life and control of our life and give us direction, magic begins to happen. Now, if you don't believe me, I want to quickly go back to historical data. This is what the Jewish community did. And in Deuteronomy 8:18, the creator of our universe, he constantly reminds the Jews to acknowledge him because their blessing came from him. All right? When we look at 1 Timothy 6:10, it shares another view. While God opens the door for you to build wealth, he's saying to you, he's reminding you that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. But I want to emphasize this. All right, I want to say this statement and I want to emphasize this. The love of money, it is said, is the root of all kinds of evil. But nothing in that statement says that money is evil. All right. And I do believe that millions of people around the world, billions of people around the world, runs away with a falsified notion that money is evil and wealthy people is evil. That is not so. God, our creator, he wants all of us to prosper. But in prospering, we mustn't lust after money. We must prosper in a way, as we learn in Abraham, I will bless you so you can be a blessing. Many persons want the blessing, but their heart is not soft enough to want to bless others. But let me say something else to you. And I've been saying this for years, myself and Chris. In recent times, we have been talking about this. When you soften your heart to bless people, you're literally opening the doors or laying the foundation for doors to be open for you to get more blessings. Those secrets we will teach you because those secrets has worked for many years and it will continue to work for many decades and centuries. It has been working. Chris and I will show you those secrets and those step-by-step best practices that you can adopt into your life to overcome financial trauma, to overcome social trauma, to overcome all of these trauma that is holding you back in your life, in your prosperity, in your dreams and in your hopes and in your aspiration. We're going to show you how to break all of those shackles that is holding you back and really position you for greatness. Chris, I would really love to hear you chime in some more on things like the emotional self, the intellectual self, the physical self. Because sometimes I do believe that, we lost after just the financial gain,
Mhm.
but we are an embodiment of more than just that. Can you
Mhm.
walk us through some of those other important masteries that people should look at?
Yeah, I think, and first off, I want to reiterate what you said. People, I want to get real for a moment. People don't understand the amount of devastation that financial stress causes. Okay.
Yeah.
You know that I do this for men for the main reason because of the suicide rate in our world is dominated by the male race, right? It's literally 77% of all suicides in the world are men.
Mm-hmm.
And when you break down the statistics even further than that, 50% of those are because of some financial issue,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people don't realize the devastation that, like you said, money is not evil. It's the relationship with money that can be
Yeah.
evil, right? And it can be devastating when you want to provide for your family or you want to achieve financial freedom and you don't know how, and you continue to live paycheck to paycheck and nothing gets better and you're racking up credit cards and you can't see the end of the tunnel. That can literally destroy a man to want him to take his life, right? And the reason that gets to that point in his life is because he doesn't have the emotional stability. He doesn't have the sense of self-worth. He doesn't have the sense of direction. He has no plan on how to get better. So therefore he keeps going down in this hole and he keeps going down in this hole until he can no longer see a way out.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden ending it and leaving your children without a father and leaving your wife without a husband and your brother without a brother seems like the only viable option, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know because I've been there. Anybody listening right now, if you read chapter 1, you will hear all about me, and that is part of my story. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I put myself out there like that is because I want people to understand the relationship of money and how it can be so positive and constructive, or it can be so destructive and negative. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that it has that power over us is because we don't have these other things in order in our life. All right.
They don't
You,
know better,
yeah. If you
Mm-hmm.
have a strong sense of self, then money doesn't have that kind of power in your life. If you
Yeah.
have a strong sense of purpose, then money will not have that kind of power in your life. If you have a strong sense of direction, money will not have that power in your life. We talked about earlier how there are people out there that have a ton of money and they're still completely miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's also people that make a whole lot of money that give a large portion of that away because they don't find their happiness with that money. Right?
Money is a tool. Money is not something to
Yes.
worship.
The
I
list
mean,
goes on and on. You can say Keanu Reeves, you can say Adam Sandler, you can say Denzel Washington, Oprah Winfrey. There are tons of people that make a crap load of money, but they don't let it control them. They live modestly, they live the way they want to live, and then they give the rest of it to charity and start foundations and those kind of things because they know having $1 billion in the bank is not where happiness comes from.
yeah.
And
You
so
know, Chris.
once you get all these other things in line, then financial freedom takes a different purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a different direction. It makes you realize that, like you said, our creator put us all here to serve, and that is
Mm-hmm.
our purpose. And so once you accomplish financial freedom, once you accomplish your direction of growing wealth, then what you are supposed to do with that is serve others and
Yeah.
help them get in their proper purpose and their proper direction to be able to serve others. That's exactly why we created this platform, is because it is my purpose. It is my direction to take everything that I learned from the 30 plus years of struggle that God allowed me to go through so that I could become who I am, Now it's my job to make sure that I'm saving other men from taking their own life and learning this blueprint so that they can be financially successful. They can be emotionally stable. They can be all those things, and then they will pass it on. And if we can
Yeah.
just make this happen and we can just get people to start paying it forward, then maybe, just maybe, we can
Yeah.
shave some of those suicide statistics down a little bit.
Yeah. You know, Chris, I do believe that very often people may hear something, but they don't have a clear understanding of what they are hearing. And I want to give a few examples of what I'm saying. When we say to people, you need to find purpose and you need to serve, for most person it's abstract. And I know this because when I first heard that your life has greater meaning now, your life has greater purpose now, I didn't understand a clue that they were saying. So they were the person that was speaking to me, they were speaking in the language of noise. I
Yep.
didn't understand. And I want to bring it back to some of what we are talking about. How to find purpose and live from purpose. And a couple of things that I've learned, I'm going to give some of the secrets away. When you give yourself in service and lose yourself in service, it is the only way to find purpose. All right. So if you're looking for purpose in life, you have to be willing to serve others. But let me also give you a nugget here in terms of building wealth. Many persons that go after the money, not service. Because when you give service, what happened, Chris? People get to know you, you get to know people, you get to build relationships. So let's take, for example, you're a rising star in business, but then you are providing service to different leaders. You're building relationship with financial institutions. You're building institution with people that understand value change. You're building relationship with, different quality circles. But because you have a relationship with them and you have served these community, guess what happens? These community end up serving you right back. And because you give service, you establish relationships. And because you establish relationships, people know you, people like you, people trust you, people now want to invest with you, people now want you to prosper. So I'm trying to break this down in such a way to really help people to understand that the strategies that we are given here today is to really position you to prosper. Listen, but not hear is going to undermine your steps to position yourself for greatness. And you will continue not to have that sense of self. You will continue not having that sense of purpose. You will continue not having that sense of direction. And guess what? Your life, your precious life, will be stuck exactly where it is. I want to emphasize this to people. You are born to be great. All right? If you believe in a creator, all right, the creator, of the Israelites, the creator of Abraham, the creator of Moses, the creator of all of these people. If you really believe in a creator, I want you to ask yourself, would he bring you into this world to be struggling? But you're struggling because you're leaning onto your ways and your understanding. One of the clever things that the Israelite has done, they have leaned heavily onto his ways. They're not living by his word alone, by bread alone, but they're living by every word that comes out of his mouth. And some of the words that comes out of his mouth is that he wants you to prosper, like Abraham did. He wants you to prosper, like Solomon did. All right. And I just want to talk a little bit about what he did for Solomon. Solomon was one of the he had greater wealth and wisdom. He was blessed with wealth, riches, and wisdom. And he was blessed in such a way that no other king on earth had attained his blessing. And that's how much God can bless, our Creator can bless you. But you must commit to understanding the blueprint, the strategies, the systems, the processes, the tools, all of which myself and Chris will expose you to. All right. I want to, there's so much more for us to talk about, as you set yourself up to live a life of greatness, a life of purpose. Chris started off by emphasizing the importance of you serving you. You serve yourself intellectually, but you want to serve yourself emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to build yourself up emotionally so you cannot be easily broken.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When tough times arise,
Mm-hmm.
you want to nurture yourself emotionally where you're also sensitive to people and their needs.
Mm-hmm.
And you can better align your skill set to serve people based on those needs.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to be emotionally, aligned, emotionally awakened. And we will go deeper into all of these things because from a business standpoint, we may talk about this from a different standpoint. It's about identifying people. What are their specific needs, wants, and expectations, their dreams, hopes, and aspiration, and building in alignment with those needs, wants, and aspiration.
Mm-hmm.
From a business standpoint, we call it collecting information, analyzing information, leveraging information, and then developing a prototype, a product or a service that reaches those people's expectation. That too is giving service. All of these hacks we're going to give you to position you for greatness.
Mm-hmm.
But as you look at yourself, as Chris would talk about, you have to fix you first. There's a physical side of you. All right. Are you exercising daily?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you taking care of yourself physically? Are you eating right? But Chris, I know you talk about this a whole lot. So I want to give you a chance to talk about it. As you set yourself up to be the whole man, the whole you, going after the great things in life, to prosper, how can we talk a bit about, mastering that physical self, that physical, life? Can we talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, I think for me, right, we talked about action steps in personal development, right? And for me personally, physical fitness was a huge part of that. You've seen pictures of me before and after, and maybe one of these days we'll put it on the YouTube channel so everybody else can see. But the damage that I did to myself was literally killing me, right? And so once I started this personal development journey, I realized that, okay, what is the sense in fixing the inside of me when the outside is dying, right? I'm not going to be here long enough to reap the benefits of fixing the inside. So physical fitness became a huge part of my daily action steps to create the personal development. And what I realized was one thing, right? We talked about it before. In order to be successful in anything, the name of my company, Awareness to Obtain. In order to obtain any goal, you must first be fully aware of the steps, right? So once you start figuring out those steps, the two most important steps are discipline and consistency. And there's nothing better to teach you those two things than a physical exercise routine. It takes discipline and it takes consistency. And you take it to the next level and you start tracking what you eat. And I'm not saying you got to weigh every portion of every meal, but there are ways. I have found some ways, and I will let people know because I've met some experts and I have some people that help me, that counting macros and that kind of stuff is very simple, right? And very easy. But more than anything else, what you need to do is come up with that daily routine and stick to that routine. And what it does is it makes you realize that if you can accomplish that routine, then you can accomplish the action steps to achieve sense of self, emotional security, all the leadership, the discipline, the consistency, all balances itself out in all these other ways, which your sense of direction, your sense of purpose, your sense of self. And so the first thing I did when I started working on myself was I started getting my butt out of bed every morning at 5 o'clock and working out.
Yeah.
And I hated it when I started it. My body hurt all the time. I hated getting up early. I hated doing all those things. But you know what? As most of y'all will be able to see with these before and after pictures, it changed my
You did it
physical.
anyway.
Yeah, it changed and what changing my physical appearance did was give me confidence when I looked in the mirror, because all of a sudden I liked what I saw. Right. And when you start liking what you see in the mirror, then all of a sudden your self-worth and your self-confidence starts to build. Then all of a sudden your positive mindset starts to build. It's all a chain reaction. Right. But for me, it started with meditation and physical fitness.
Yeah. Great. You know, Chris, I'm going to join you to talk a little bit about physical mastery and how all of that relate to me. You know, because I'm very active in physical activities. For example, I'm a black belt in Shotokan martial arts. And what I can say, I benefit from the exercise itself because it's a discipline. But what I love about physical exercise, it represents everything you talk about. It enhances your sense of self. It enhances your sense of self-confidence. It makes you a better leader because, you know, I feel so confident in, you know, in any situation because of I know that I can defend myself, you know, in normal circumstances and in some cases abnormal circumstances. So I understand, you know, the importance of physical exercise. And we want to emphasize this because everything that we're taught, myself and Chris are talking about, we're not taken from another story. We are taking a lot of what we're talking about also comes from our life experiences. All right. This blueprint has been built from our life experiences. We're not going to tell you how to build wealth when we ourselves haven't built wealth. We're not going to tell you how to prosper in your relationship when we ourselves haven't prospered in relationships. We are the living example of things that we're talking about. All right. So, you know, there's so much for us to unpack. Today, we are just doing a high level overview of some of the practical things that we want, you know, our community to start, you know, thinking about. And we want to share this information with you. So when you come in, at least you have some ideas in terms of how you're going to be benefiting. Now, as a man, you also want to master your financial intelligence. And this is important because a single source of income today is totally inadequate to help you to embrace the quality of life that you want for yourself, that you want for you and your spouse, and that you want for you, your spouse, and your kids. A single source of income today for the majority of people in the world, let us say 95.5% of the global population, when your single source of income is inadequate. So what's the solution for this? Now, the challenge with all of this is that many persons wait until their backs are against the wall and then they try to figure out the solution. And what Chris and I are saying to you, don't wait until your backs are against the wall. Start developing your personal life master plan now, today, all right? So in your master plan, as we start to think about finance, you will learn about, you know, the importance of having a single source of income, but how you can quickly up level into multiple sources of income. We will talk to you about how to leverage debt and how to leverage equity, how to leverage credit, how to, you know, leverage creative financing. There's so much for us to unpack on these platforms and for you. And some of the things that I must share with you that we love talking about is real estate. And I could recall not so long ago, I was talking with some of my, you know, colleagues, and we were talking about real estate. Is real estate an asset or a liability? Well, real estate is both. It depends on what you know and how you're leveraging that body of knowledge. Now, if you just go and buy a piece of real estate and you're throwing back in that piece of real estate and you're living like king, Is that an asset or a liability? That's a liability because the time perhaps is not yet for you to start living like a king. Now, when you invest in real estate, that estate is subject to four things: principal and interest, tax, and insurance. And if you have to go into your primary source of income to pay principal, to pay interest, to pay taxes, to pay insurance, and that property itself is not generating income for you, that's a liability. But what if there's a smarter way in which you could acquire assets? All right. All the great ones from the great books that I've talked about early on, like Abraham, he learned the value of land. He learned the importance of, leveraging land into income producing assets. On this platform, we will teach men how to leverage this body of knowledge so you know how to take debt. And debt can be two things. It could be positive or negative. It can be a liability, it could be an asset. We're going to show you how to take debt and make that into an asset that can give you daily income, an asset that can give you weekly income, an asset that can give you monthly income, an asset that can give you annual income, an asset that can pay you for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. These are some of the great things that the Israelites would have done, and they continue to do on today like today. But of course, if you don't know the blueprint, you're going to flow through life with a low sense of self. You're going to flow through life with a low sense of purpose. You're going to flow through life with a low sense of direction. Mm-hmm. Yes, you might be saying to yourself, you don't have the right people around you to make things happen. That's a lie. It's a lie because Chris and I, we are here right now, and we're going to say to you, join our community so you can get in touch with mentors. You can get in touch with coaches. You can get in touch with sponsors. You can get in touch with a supportive community that wants you to succeed. And guess what else? We don't only want you to be successful. You know exactly how to position you to come into your greatness because we have done it. We have lived it. We are living it. And we want to show you that blueprint so you don't have to struggle through life. All right. Chris, as we begin to wrap up here today, I would love to hear your share, because I do believe as we look at everything that we have covered today, sense of self, sense of purpose, sense of direction, these things affect people's life in the most negative of ways. And I think that when you don't know how to commit to master your personal life, this is your life. You need to take ownership of your life. You need to be the captain who knows the destination, how to get to that destination by navigating your boat. You need to be the pilot of your life, that you're not waking up in the plane and recognize that you don't have a clue as to how to pilot your plane. You want to wake up and own your life, and you know that this is the direction I'm moving, why I'm moving, and how to get there to achieve the greatness that I want to accomplish. The Israelites know what they're doing. Abraham know what he was doing. The great one know what they're doing. What Chris and I, we're committed to do is to show you that blueprint, teach you that blueprint. And as Chris would say, he's totally committed to holding your hands and pouring into you the kind of information that can transform your life. This book that you're seeing right here, right now, written by Chris, Becoming a Better Man, is transformational. Why? Because it talks to you about trauma. Why? Because trauma is holding you back. And if you continue to allow trauma to hold you back, your life, your abundance, and your prosperity has been hijacked before you can say 1, 2, 3. Chris want to give you the tools to correct that. Chris, to you, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, people have no idea the amount of men that I've worked with that have no clue what it would take to start to transform their lives, right? And they also have no clue on how it's just a few little things. We think it's such a daunting task. We think it's that, I'll never be able to accomplish that. That's too much work. It's too much this. It's going to take too much money, too much effort, all those things. No, it's a few little tweaks. It's a few little tweaks in different areas that are essential to allowing you to become the person that you want to be. The problem is that up to this point, most of us don't know what those tweaks are. We don't know what those steps are. Well, now we've given you that, right? And like you said, we're literally giving you that for free. So there is no, you know, oh, pay me $10,000 up front and I'll change your life, right? That's not what we're about. That's not what we're trying to do. I want to impact men because I literally walked through the fire at such a devastating extent that there is literally nothing that I haven't been through that another man is going through right now. And when I got through all of that and I literally transformed my own life with some help, I realized the amount of men that were out there floundering and struggling because they just don't know what to do. So it became my goal to show them what to do, to give them a blueprint, to help them realize that they don't have to struggle the way they are struggling anymore. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a way out. But in order to do that, like I stated in the beginning of this episode, it takes some vulnerability. It takes some acceptance. It's okay that you're at where you're at right now. There are millions of people out there that are exactly where you're at right now. It's okay that you're struggling. Accept it. Accept that if you are vulnerable enough to accept some help, there is a way out of that.
And get help.
Reach out, register for these forums, get the book, follow this YouTube channel, reach out to me on all my other platforms, one-on-one. I don't care. I realize that God put me here to help save men from going down the same path that I went down for 40 years of my life. And I am willing to do whatever it takes to fulfill that purpose and follow my destiny. I am here for you. Gary is here for you. We are here because we have proven with our own lives that transformation is possible if you follow the right steps. We are willing to give you those steps. We are willing to mentor you through those steps. We are willing to walk with you every step of the way, but you first have to be willing to accept the help.
All right, thanks to that, Chris. Again, I want to say to the public, we had today, I'm certain over 2,000 persons has visited this room. I want to thank you from the depths of my heart for being here today and being part of this movement. Now, there's no reason for you to be stuck in your life. Why? Because you can get a mentor. You can find a mentor in Chris. Get a coach. You can find a coach in Chris. Get a sponsor. You can find a sponsor in Chris and I. Become part of a supportive community. And that supportive community, they want you to win, all right? They want you to win. So I want to encourage you to go to the description of this video right now on YouTube, and I want you to press those links. And I want you to become a part of the men's forum. And here is where we're going to really work with you and give you the tools to master your manhood. You know, being a man is about being prosperous. Your creator wants you to prosper. But of course, if you don't know the way to prosperity, you're going to struggle and you're going to open up your life to trauma. And that's what Chris don't want for you. That's what we don't want for you. All right. Become a part of this community. Join the family forum. In the family forum, we're going to really show you how to position the family to build wealth. There's concepts like group economics. Do you know what is group economics? Sometimes it's, you know, when we do the research, we do the studies, we recognize that, you know, over 80% of the American population don't even have $500 in an emergency savings account. But guess what? When you learn what is group economics, we are able to change all of that and position you to start thinking the right way, position you to start understanding what group economics is. And as you begin to understand what is group economics, you begin to learn practical steps that you can now use to emancipate yourself from all forms of financial struggle. We're going to give you the blueprints on that. So go to the description, register for the men's forum, register for the family forum, become part of this community, and we are here to support you. These programs value thousands of dollars. But guess what? Chris and I, we are paying for this program for you for a period of time. We're not going to pay for it forever, but we want to transfer this body of knowledge to you so you can prosper. Also go to this YouTube channel, Men's Forum, and get this book. There's 2 chapters that is out. I want you to listen to this book and allow the message to just soften your heart and open your eyes and position you, motivate you so you can be positioned to come into social greatness, financial greatness, and happiness in life. So with that being said, Chris, I'm just going to ask you to give your closing, your last remarks, and we're going to wrap up today's session.
Yeah, I love the way you put that, man. Literally, Everybody needs to understand that Gary and I want to be here for you, but we can't do that unless you allow us to be there. Transformation takes a little bit of vulnerability. It takes a little bit of courage. It takes a little bit of faith. But what I can personally guarantee you, and Gary will guarantee you as well, is if you join these programs, if you reach out to us and you are vulnerable enough to ask for help, we will not let you down. We will be there with you every step of the way to make sure that you find the help that you need and you learn the blueprint on how not only to change your life, to change your family's life, to change your community's life. Because I am a big believer, as Gary is as well, that better people build better families, they build better communities, and eventually a better world. And that is the goal in all of this. So please reach out, please register, join us on these live shows. You'll get a ton of value out of it. You'll get more value than you could possibly even believe. So please continue to join us.
All right, Chris, thanks again. And I just want to close with this statement. And I want you to go to Genesis 12:2-3. I will bless you, God says to Abraham, and you will be a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, God could be saying this to you right now. Your creator could be saying this to you right now. I will bless you so you can be a blessing unto others. But as Chris would have said, you have to come into that community to receive your blessing, all right? So you can go out into the world and be a blessing to yourself, to your spouse, to your children, and everyone else around you. With that being said, do have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next week, Wednesday, with another broadcast. We will be here every Wednesday, so tell a friend, and remember to come join us again for more information. Be blessed.
God bless. I love you all.
Family Forum. For a new generation of people, learn smart ways to build individual and generational wealth. Live and lead more purpose-driven lives. Build and leverage community leadership. Build strong personal and corporate brands. Take personal and collective ownership of family life. Family Forum, for a new generation of families.